Thanks, I'm here, I'm queer.
Oh yeah. That way we can be. And then should I just say my name?
Yeah, so your name, what you do, your pronouns, and then your Instagram.
My name is Alexander Valentino Sky. My pronouns are he, him, and my Instagram handle is ALEXANDRE_SKYE. Woo, that's a mouthful. And I am a draglesque, spoken word performer, training for sideshow and circus as well.
Awesome. So what got you into drag and performing?
So growing up, I come from a little bit of a dance and theater background. What got me interested in drag was when I was 16, I saw Lady Gaga with her drag persona, Joe Calderone, and I realized that, anyone can do drag, and I didn't realize that drag didn't have any limits on gender, expression, that I could be a drag king, so that was kind of my first inspiration.
What's it like running a drag show? Like, what are the pros and the cons?
The pros are that you meet a lot of amazing people and you have a lot of fun. Sometimes it's pure chaos, but you just roll with the punches and it's always a really good time. Some of the cons is that it's chaos. And you just learn a lot of things sometimes that night, just how to run a show better, things that you could do, better in the future.
So what are the hardships of being a drag king?
Some of the hardships, I guess the first thing that comes to mind is just being gendered correctly and being taken seriously as a performance artist. Drag kings sometimes have to fight to have the same platforms as drag queens and other entertainers. It seems like there's a double standard in some cases, that there is a higher level of just requirements for drag kings, that they have to do so many more things than drag queens would have to do.
What is a drag queen? King.
A drag king, really just any drag entertainer. At the end of the day, drag is basically just performance for gender, or just gender performance in general. Drag king specifically is just anybody that does more of like a masculine style, just my perspective on it, just anybody that does more of like a mask presenting gender performance.
So in your performances, you were like extremely energetic and athletic. How do you practice or do you train to avoid injury?
I was a dancer for a really long time, and I continue to keep stretching and make sure that I train my flexibility. I will also train new tricks either by myself or with other folks that can supervise me. I'm currently training to do more aerial arts as well, so I'm trying to combine that into my performance as well. Yeah.
Gotcha. So what do you do if you do get injured on stage?
What I do when I get injured, I don't do that a second time. And I make sure that I take care of myself after. I go visit, the correct people if my injury is severe enough. But mostly I just make sure I don't fuck up again.
Gotcha. So what got you into producing?
What got me into producing? So I was hired on as a host for a couple of shows way back in the day. I say way back in the day. It was maybe 2019 that I really started hosting shows. And then the pandemic hit and I kind of fell off the train with that. I tried to perform a little bit in quarantine. I wasn't really fond of the online platforms. I think just because for me it was really difficult to navigate. I'm not always very tech savvy when it comes to editing videos. But what got me interested in producing was just making spaces that were needed in the community. So just carving out, unique things like alternative drag shows, also just spaces for all ages shows where kids can perform, as well as entertainers that are between the ages of 18 and 20, because they have limited venues where they can perform. Most drag shows are held at bars. So sometimes that can be a barrier for some of our younger performers, some of our youth talent that can't access those entertainment spaces.
So what's it like watching a show after you finish your set?
Oh, it's just pure magic. I have the honor and privilege of screening everybody's music before they go on stage, and I am always in for a treat every single time. I'm really just never disappointed with the creativity that our local artists bring to the stages. So honestly, it's just always a great time for me. I have so much fun. I'm literally just Amy Poehler in the aisle from Mean Girls, like filming and just going, yeah, like that's my cast. I love them.
That's awesome. So, where would you see yourself in your shows you're creating like 5 to 10 years from now?
5 to 10 years from now, well, hopefully I'm still kicking, still going by that time, but hopefully by then I hope to do really big productions and travel around the country and the world and start performing, you know, on a more national and international level.
Okay. And then what is dancing to you and why do you do it on stage?
Well, I grew up with a heavy ballet, modern dance background, a little bit of jazz, tiny bit of hip hop and tap as well. But what it means to me is just like an escape, and this is my biggest form of self-care. Even though I have to practice physical self-care after, it's more of like my emotional and mental self-care that I do just to, you know, get into a good headspace. Because, you know, moving your body does release endorphins, and that's really good for you.
So is there anything that you would say to somebody considering doing this or somebody new at this, and what would you say that inspired you as a new drag king?
Always be true to yourself. I know that there are a lot of shows out there. Some places have more shows than others. Where I come from, I'm from Denver. There is a very big drag community there, and there are a lot of shows at any given time. One weekend can have up to 10 shows if you really know where to look. So just be true to yourself, look for open stages, make connections that are genuine, and don't give up no matter how hard it might seem at some times, but still know your limits and don't push yourself past them.
She's a fucking pro, let me tell you. With that said, that concludes our first act of the evening, or our first set of the evening. So, we're gonna take a 15 to 20 minute break, smoke them if you got them, go use the bathroom, get your drinks refilled, visit our merch booth in the back.